Hello, everybody. I need to I need to do content more often. Sometimes I come up with a great idea, decide how I want to, the format I want to take it with, and what I want to say, and I've come to realize it's not always a great thing to try to do content in anger, because sometimes you come off the wrong way to people, even though you're not intending to. You mean well, but sometimes it doesn't come off well. So I will start trying to get my content out more regularly as I come up with ideas. Sometimes it's just sometimes you have the idea, you just don't have the time, and sometimes you get distracted by things that life hands you. But anyway, as you see what the title says, that's going to be the topic for today. I'm probably not going to say anything that you haven't already heard. And it's okay if you disagree with what I have to say about it. I'm just speaking, what I feel like is the true perspective, the reality of things. And I'm not going to use the word opinion, because I don't believe that I come to the table at any given time with an opinion. It's just how I see it. And that's not an opinion about my opinions. If I don't have the facts, if I don't have any hard evidence to back anything up, then I won't say it. It's not worth wasting my time or your time. So I'm going to start off with reading something I found. I think it was on Facebook somewhere. And I typically don't go off of what I read, what I see on Facebook, because most of it's just propaganda and bullshit. The title of it is called My Body, My Choice. And the people who use that phrase, my body, my choice, you would be correct. It initially starts out that exact way. Your body, your choice. But here's food for thought that you guys don't want to hear. The ones that make that statement. Here's the part that you don't want to hear. Here's the truth behind that. You do have full control over your body. Always have, always will. And free will over it. That's not in this. I'm just adding that to it because it just sounds like the right thing to say with what I'm mentioning here. Your problem is, and the argument is, with this whole thing, you want full control over another life that you created because you lost control of your body. Does that sting a little? I hope so. that new life is not responsible for your decisions. Whether if they were poor decisions or not. Obviously, it was a poor decision at the time because you just wanted to feel good. You had an itch that you were just dying to get scratched. There are multiple ways to control your body and prevent the forming of that new life. Do your due diligence. Do your research. Be an adult. Take responsibility before you make the choice. And if you don't believe in that, if your argument is, well, contraceptives don't always work. Okay. Abstain. If you really feel that way, abstain. Abstain until you feel like you can take responsibility for another life. Failure to do so should not be blamed on that innocent life that you're now carrying. That new life is not your body. It's a new body growing inside of you now. It doesn't have any say. The only thing it has, the only voice that it gets is the one coming from you. And that is 100% up to you as far as the voice you give it. Not as far as you taking its life or not. I mean, it's up to you. You have, God gave you free will to respond to it and handle it the way you choose. But just remember, if you make the choice to get rid of it, it's murder. Regardless of how it happened. And I'll get to that here in a minute. We'll go further with this. Because I understand there are circumstances sometimes. Certain circumstances. So we'll get to that here in just a minute. You thought it was okay to scratch your itch. I'm talking to the ones that just don't give a shit. They're only thinking about the moment. They don't consider the future unless it betters them and their ideas. All you cared about was the moment. And oops, It happened. And now I don't have the means to go through with this. This is horrible. Blah 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 blah. Why didn't you think of that to begin with? How many of, okay, all of you, I want to ask everyone that watches this, and please, I don't typically ask this, share this. Anybody needs to see this. Anybody needs to hear this. I don't care how they feel. I don't care what their viewpoint is on it. We can disagree and still get along. It's very possible. I don't care if anybody puts a comment on this, negative or positive. But please, Slick, if you're watching this, which I know you possibly will, and thank you for watching the last one. You can go back and watch all the previous ones. Thank you. Thank you for the comment, too. I appreciate that. You're one of the very, very few, and I mean very few, that interacts on here. And I appreciate that. And just so you know, I don't really say a whole lot on the group channel, on the group page, because, well, that's just not always me. But anyway, sorry about that. I kind of got off topic there for a second. I want to ask everybody this, and I want everybody that sees this to answer. If your biological mother, a real woman, not all this, I want to identify as a female. I'm sorry you don't have the body parts. That's not what God made you out to be. So therefore you cannot. I don't give a damn what's politically correct or what makes you feel better about yourself. Go see a psychiatrist. Go get some help. Go get your heart right with God, with Christ, and ask for forgiveness, because you have a demon inside of you that you wish to not admit to. There you go. The end. How many of you How many of you with biological mothers, or do you feel that your biological mother, if she was pro-choice, would you still be here? Would you have the life that you have? Would you be able to what's the word I'm looking for? Would you be able to be a part of, would you be able to be involved with society and do your part? Whatever it is that you became as an adult, everything that you helped out with. If she was pro-choice, would you still be able to do that? I asked a guy that not long ago at work. Wasn't one of our coworkers. It was just somebody that I sort of deal with day in and day out. I asked this guy that, young guy. We got talking about politics. And I asked him, I said, did you get to go vote? He says, yeah. He said, I voted. And with a smile on his face, he said, I voted for. He smiled in a jokingly way and said I voted for Kamala, which I knew was bullshit. And then we got talking about abortion rights. And I asked him the same thing. I said, if your biological mom was pro-choice, would you still be here? Would you still, be able to? Would you have been able to be a part of society and contribute? That's the word I've been looking for. Contribute to society. Yes, I stutter. Okay, so what? Anyway, and he said probably not. And I'd be willing to bet you guys, all you that I just asked that, would have the same answer, that you would not be around to contribute to society. Which some are going, well, the way society is, well, the way the world's been for the last several years, last 4 years, or whatever, who would want to bring a child in this world anyway? Maybe true. Excuse me. Maybe true. Maybe true. You think it was any different when you were born? I know it wasn't any different when I was born. Wasn't any different when my kids were born. I had two kids, one right before Obama's term and one during Obama's term. We made it. When is it ever a good time to decide to have a kid? When? Answer that. If you're waiting for the perfect time to have a child or get married or get engaged or start a business or whatever the case is, you'll never do it. You're creating an excuse to not pull the trigger on the idea. Excuse me, I need to get me some water. Now, on to the other part of this subject. Sorry if my glare off my reading glasses is bothering some people. It just kind of helps me a little bit. Let's get on to the other part of this subject. Rape and incest. It happens. And at times, this is the outcome. An unwanted pregnancy. I understand that. I understand that and I get it. Here's a good question, a serious question. Do you actually believe, are you going to try to convince yourself that if you abort that child that didn't ask for that to happen no more than what you did, that's going to change your traumatization from the moment in time? No. Regardless if you abort that child or not, the memory remains. Sorry. I know it's not the greatest thing to have to think about. I understand. And my sincerest apologies for any of you women that end up living through that. I hope you don't commit suicide. I hope you get the help that you truly deserve because of it. Because you do need counseling after it happens. And I'm sorry that you had to go through that. It's inexcusable to the person that committed it. It's not right. and it deserves the justice that's available. However, that child didn't ask for that to happen either. And regardless if you abort it, I'm just going to use the word murder. Regardless if you decide to go ahead and allow murder to be committed with it or not, for years to come, you'll always remember that moment of it happening, of the incest or the rape. Your memory won't be erased just because you erased the kid. And additional to that, you'll always have the memory of you murdering that innocent child. You can't argue that. That's a fact. The memory of the incident happening, and then you're going to add the memory of murdering an innocent life to that. Why would you do it to why would you do all that to yourself? You didn't have any control over what happened. But you do have control over what happens to that life. Now, if something happens health-wise with the baby, let God decide if it lives or dies. Don't let the doctors and nurses get in your ear and convince you to end that child's life because of what they see on a machine. Let the child put the life of the child in God's hands, and if God deems it fit for whatever future reason not to let it live, then that is up to God. We are not God. We can't answer for God, and we can't make decisions in the place of God. We just have to listen and try to follow his what he wants. We have to try to follow his will. God giveth and God taketh away. He is the Alpha and the Omega. He is the finisher. Now, with all that being said, I'm leading into this. So, you were raped, or incest happened, unwanted, out of your control. I mean, you probably tried to fight back, and was threatened with your life, possibly, maybe. Or maybe you went ahead and committed incest because it was a step family member. It's still incest. I mean, yeah, it can be kind of, referenced as a form of incest. However it happened, and you don't want to keep the child because of it, and that's fine. At least allow it to live. And think about the possibility, think about the idea that there are married couples, and when I'm talking about a couple, I'm not referencing homosexual couples, because that's not a true couple under the eyes of God. and they're not truly married. They're not really married biblically under the eyes of God. God does not allow that. God does not sanctify that. I'm sorry, He doesn't. But there are struggling married couples. When I say struggling, I mean struggling to grow their family for whatever reason. A lot of it is health reasons. The woman, no matter what medically they try to do, can't get pregnant. Won't ever get pregnant. It's just not God's will. Or for whatever reason, the man can't fertilize an egg, or has some kind of medical condition that hinders him sexually. There's adoption. And there are many married couples that would be thrilled at the chance at getting an infant of their own, or making it their own legally, and giving it all the love and nourishment and the life it deserves. So instead of murder, give it a chance of life regardless. Whether if you choose to keep it because you can't grasp the idea, you can't get the idea, you wish not to even think of the idea of giving it up because it biologically still is yours and it didn't ask for this, or you just can't stand the idea of hanging on to it because it's going to be a constant reminder, even though you're still going to have a reminder of it anyway, because you can't change your memory unless you have it medically erased. Or somehow you get lucky and something happens and you develop amnesia. Give it a chance at life. Give it up for adoption. Let someone else grow it and nurture it. Give it all the love it needs. Let someone else give it the life that it should have, whatever that is. And I actually turned a feminist around with that. She looked at me. It's been a year. There's been years ago. She looked at me, and I don't know. We were talking about abortion. I don't know how we got onto the subject. We were talking about abortion, and I'd never thought about it like I think about it now. Since then. And she was talking about, in these situations, and all of a sudden, it just dawned on me. Adoption. Worst case scenario, if you let the child live, let somebody else have it. If you don't want to, have to handle all that, that's fine. Let someone else that's willing to. Why not? It's a win-win. The only thing you have to deal with after that is the memory. Other than okay. Additionally, you would give yourself. You would always remember that child, and you would always wonder what happened to it, how it's doing, what's become of it, the normal biological mother stuff. And you could probably Now that I think about this now, I suggest when you give it up for adoption, if you're able to, if you're allowed to see if you can try to keep in contact with the adoptive parents and check in and see. Check in on the kid. Maybe you can form a friendship with the parents and somehow become, that they adopt you in as a, you become close enough with those parents. Maybe they make you, an honorary aunt or something. An honorary whatever, I mean, eventually, it'll probably come out if that happens and you stick around. Eventually, the true story will probably come out, which is not which is not a bad idea, because kids are always, when they get older, they always search for their biological parents anyway. If they grew up in a single parent family, they always, search for the other family member. They always search for the other parent or the other biological. That's not uncommon. And in the long run, it helps them to develop even that much more and, realize their heritage, their family tree, and where they get some of their things from, some of their personality traits. Glad I did this video. And I'm glad I kind of waited as long as what I did, because I didn't even think about that till just now. That's a good idea. And that's what should be done. Oh, and as far as all you women that despise any of us guys that voted for Trump, we don't care. You don't want to have sex with us, which I don't care because I'm married anyway, but if you don't want to have sex with a guy because he voted for Trump, there's a reason why you're still single. Even up to now. There's a reason why you've been single all these years and you've never made a commitment. It's not just because you decided not to make a commitment. We don't want to commit to you. Any man with half a brain shouldn't even be touching you with a 10-foot pole if they have one. You want to say, I'm not even going to touch you even if you have a 10-foot pole? Bitch, we don't want you touching us anyway. You're nuts. You're psycho. Go into that 4B movement where you don't deal with men. That's just an excuse anyhow. And we don't want to deal with your stupid ass anyway. You think that we changed your mind about making a commitment to anybody, to a guy? To marriage or having a child? This didn't change nothing. You wasn't going to do anything that you hadn't done already. This is just your excuse. Excuse me for the background noise. The washer's running. We don't want you. You don't even want yourself. You don't even like yourself. Why would we like you? You talk about hate. You created the hate. People are stupid and want to blame it on everybody else for them being stupid. You're sorry. The women that think like that, y'all are sorry excuses. Please don't have a baby. That means that you'll have offspring running around. Good God, look at what we're dealing with already. It's scary enough just dealing with you. And then you want to procreate? Please, don't put a man through that trouble. Men, smarten up. Throw that fish back in the damn ocean and find you a better one. Don't let yourself get off guard because you got an itch you're trying to scratch. It ain't worth it. Excuse me, my back's itching. Just don't do it. For the love of God, do everyone a favor, including yourself, and don't even bother. Please don't have sex for 4 years. You probably ain't had sex in the last 8 years anyhow. And no, masturbation doesn't count. A dildo doesn't either. A vibrator doesn't either. Sorry. If that's what your life adds up to, you ain't got much of a life. You're not. That's what's wrong with a lot of you. You ain't had sex in a long time. And it's screwing with your damn mentality. Because sex releases certain hormones in men and women. And yes, it does create a high. One of the best drugs you can ever take. Sex. As long as it's done right. And I mean done the right way, done biblically. But anyway, I guess that's all I have to say right now. I might do another one here in a little while, or a little later today, or I might do something tomorrow because I don't think we're going to be working again because the rain's still here, and it's going to continue tonight, which is fine. I appreciate my time off as much as I do when it's time to work. So I don't try to worry about it because it's not going to affect any. It's not going to change the what's going to happen. But anyway, y'all have a good day. Talk to you later. Like I said, anybody that does watch this video, please comment. Thumbs up, thumbs down in the comments, whatever. Thumbs up, thumbs down about it. Comment. Share it. As a matter of fact, I would appreciate if y'all just start sharing all my videos. I don't care about making the money. I care about getting the word out there about things that need to be said to others. We can agree to disagree. Whatever you got to say, you're not going to hurt my feelings. Matter of fact, I'll probably comment. I possibly would comment back. I'll react somehow. It won't be a bad way, but I'll react somehow. But you have freedom of speech just like I do. So if you disagree, you have that right, and that's fine. I have a freedom of speech to do what I'm doing right here. Anyway, have a good one. Talk to you later. Take care. Stay dry. See ya.